Yo, what up? What up? What up? What up, KFL, man? Happy to be back. Happy to be back. It's your boy JigMaster. What's going on, peoples? What's going on out there in ID land? Been a while since we seen each other. Been a while since we talked. Been a while since we chatted. So I was like, let me get back up on here. Everybody, you know what I'm saying? Whoever's watching, man, hit me up in the comments so I know who's on here. What up, AP? Mr. Adam Patron himself, man. You know I'm gonna have to do one of these with you too, Adam. You know you had a hell of a tournament. Hell of a tournament there, didn't you, buddy? Um, you know, um, it's been a while. So, I was like, you know what? We need to come on here and see the people, do a recap of the national championship, man. I'll tell you people, I did this was my second national championship. I did last year's as well down in Gunnersville. And I could tell you that this one, in my opinion, blew last year's out of the water. And what I mean by that, I don't mean just the fishing, man. I mean like the whole entire event, just the locations they chose, the events they had planned, how things ran. It was awesome, man. We got Mount. I'll not say your name, bro. So I might butcher it. We got Juan Guillen. I hope I ain't butchered that too much, or Tuan Guillen. Russell Kennedy, what's up, man? Jay Merritt, how you doing, baby? Mr. Jack Tibbins, man, it's good to be back on, man. Good to be back on here talking with y'all. Uh, who else, man? Oh, I did okay saying it. Cool, cool, cool. Hey, so I'm excited about tonight's broadcast, man. I got some of the hammers who competed in this NC coming on, and we're gonna just do a recap of the tournament, how they found them, how the fishing went, what they thought about it, and whatnot. If you read the description, you saw it. So we're gonna have Mr. Garrett Morgan himself, man. We got George Nemeth coming on, and then we got the runner up, also known as the Angler of the Year, Mr. Cody Milton, gonna come on, man, and join us hopefully. And then your boy JigMaster. I guess I'll tell you guys about my terrible tourney. I do got something special to show y'all though. I did catch my PB while I was down there. I caught it in practice, man. My PB weight wise. Man, it was awesome. It was awesome. I'm gonna go ahead and play that for you guys right here. So this is my PB catch right here. So this was about 12 to 15 foot of water, and there was a brush pile out in front. I didn't put the part in where I mapped across it first, and I saw a couple fish sitting on it. I thought she was small, man. I thought she was a 2 pounder until she jumped right here. And that was when, and on the inside, I went crazy.
Oh my God.
Don't make fun of me.
Oh my God. Oh shit.
All right, don't make fun of me. All right. So that was the PB catch right there, man. But anyway, I'll save my stuff for last, man. Let's get these hammers on real quick, man. We got Mr. Garrett Morgan, man. I think yeah, what's going on, baby?
Oh, not much, man. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, man, I can hear you, bro. I can hear you pretty
Okay.
good.
Yeah, I'm out at the ball field watching my little one, but definitely wanted to hop on and, share a little bit with folks.
Yeah, man, absolutely. I mean, you had a good tournament. Would you finish like 12th or something like that?
Yeah, ended up finishing 12th. I really just found something pretty consistent overall. And, I was talking to Greg before the tournament started, and he's like, kind of, what do you think? And I said, I think to be in the top 5, you're going to have at least 95 inches a day. I said, but I don't have that. I have about 92 inches a day. But then the first day I rolled out and put up 96 inches. And so I was like, okay, well, shoot, man, maybe I got a shot to be in this thing. And, I shared the water with 2 other guys. We rotated through it pretty good. Wasn't that big an area. I mean, I really do feel like if one person had it to themselves, they probably could have competed, been in the top 5. I personally had to keep changing stuff up while I was in there to give those fish a different look, to get bites. But when it all played out, I did the math. So my average went down each day. Had 91 and a quarter the second day, and then 89.
We lost your audio, Garrett.
Okay,
there you go.
I should be back now. Yeah, I had a call coming in, but I did the math on it, and I actually ended up averaging 92 and a half inches a day. So I was right about what I thought I had in there. And you can't really be too upset about how you finished out, even if you jumped out of the gate heavy. If you did what you thought you could based on your practice, you fished your tournament, you were on your fish. Just got to be happy with how it turned out. And I was fortunate enough to be blessed enough to have a little help from some other anglers here and there, as far as them maybe not being as consistent, that had been in the top a little bit here and there, to be able to catch a pretty good check.
Yeah, man. Hey, so I'm gonna go ahead and bring these other 2 guys on, and then I do want to have some questions for you as well. But I'm gonna go ahead and bring them in.
Okay.
We got Mr. George Nemeth. What's going on, man? How you doing?
Doing well. How about you guys?
Man, we live in the American dream,
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I don't think I need to introduce this guy. I think everybody knows who this guy is right here. What's going on, Mike?
Hey, I'm doing today. How's it going, man?
I'm doing all right. Man. I'm doing all right. I can't complain. I had a long day of work today, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I hear, man. I'm kind of the same boat. I had just a few minutes or whatever, but I at least wanted to pop in and see how everybody was doing and all that. So I won't be able to stay long. I'm sorry about that, but.
What do we got you for? How long we got you?
Maybe 5-10 minutes or so. Sorry, it's a short one today, but I've got a bunch of stuff I need to get done. So.
Okay, hey Garrett, do you mind if we go ahead and give him? He's only going to be with us for about 5-10 minutes.
Yeah, jump on him, man. My kiddo's about to bat anyways.
Okay.
Get him, Garrett.
All right, Mike. Won't you tell everybody where did you finish at in the tournament?
So man, I finished 7th in the Challenge Series, 8th in the Trail Series, and 19th in the National Championship.
So not too bad, man.
No,
was your pattern? Was your pattern anything like it was the year before, or in what was it, 2019? Was it 2019? Okay.
19. Yeah. No, it wasn't even remotely the same as the springtime, and I knew it wasn't going to be. I mean, yeah, there was fish on trees, and I caught a lot of fish off the trees, but it was so scattered, man. The fish were everywhere. They were either on the trees or off the grass flats, or shoot, some of them were just out chasing shad, and you just happen to be at the right place at the right time and have a school come by you. You could do real well real quick.
Now, man, let me tell you this, man. You have no idea how many people were trying to repeat that pattern that you won from the spring on, man.
Oh, I know. Trust me, man. I couldn't get away from anybody. It was driving me nuts. It literally was driving me nuts. I keep kicking myself still that I didn't get over on a different lake, namely Bistino, to practice. I kept telling myself I needed to go over there to practice, and I never made it, and I'm still kicking myself. But you know what? That's all right.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, man. You still finished very high up there,
Yeah, it was good. I mean, I ended up, catching some really nice fish throughout the week. Caught my personal best. I mean, it was just a phenomenal week. I can't complain at all.
I saw that. What was she? 24 and a half?
Yeah, man, she was almost 25. Really, she didn't have quite the gut that yours did. I kind of wish she would have, because she'd have probably been probably 12 or so at that point, but because yours was just a fatty, I mean, a big old fat tank. Mine
Yeah,
didn't have
man.
quite the gut on her, but it was a big fish. I mean, double digits is double digits in my book. I don't care if it's
It
10
is. It is,
pounds
man.
even or 11 or what. It's still double digits, you know?
Yeah, absolutely, man. How'd you? Why don't you walk us through how you caught that fish? Like, what was the circumstances?
That is the craziest thing about it. Believe it or not, that fish was a schooling fish. That 10-pound, whatever ounce fish was a schooling bass. Yes, it was out in the middle of again, it's 2 days before practice. So and, you know, if anybody knows me, they know that I don't like to hook fish in practice. But sometimes they just, you know, if you're flipping a bait or something, they just don't let go, and it is what it is. Well, this time I was going around some trees, and then out behind my boat was just like this little swirl or a boil. It wasn't even a big blow up or nothing, just a boil. So I looked out, I'm like, what in the world? You know, so I just flipped a chatterbait back there, and she hammered it. And I mean, I knew it was a good one at first, and then she come completely out of the water, and I just about lost my lunch, man. I could not believe how the size of this fish was. So, and being a schooling fish like that out in the middle of literally nothing, I figured a complete fluke no matter what. So I might as well go ahead and try to land it. So I did. I'm glad I did. You know how it is, man. You land a fish like that, and at the same time you're kind of sick to your stomach because it's 2 days.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, Garrett, if you got anything to say, man, just give me a thumbs up. I'll unmute you. I just didn't want all the noise in the background. Yeah, man. When I caught mine, like, I mean, I just played the video, but like I saw her on the on my side scan because I
really?
I went by the dock, and there was a brush pile out in front of the dock, and there was like I don't know, I saw like 3 or 4 fish sitting on it. And dude, this was literally like 4 days, maybe 5 days before the tournament started. So I was like, that far out, I have no problem setting the hook on some fish because I want to know what size of fish I'm on. You know, and I had been having a very mediocre practice day because this was on what is it, Black Cypress Bayou or Bayou, whatever the name of it was, Cypress Bayou. It was out there. And it was a mediocre day before that fish, man. And I saw it on the side scan, so I looped back around and I tossed. It was unfortunately, people, it was not a jig. It was a trench hog on a 5/16 ounce unpegged weight. And so I tossed up there, man. I think I popped it 2 or 3 times, and then I drug it, and I went to lift it up again, and it was just there was weight there. So I swung on it, and fighting her, she felt like a 2-pounder, man. Like she was coming. Obviously, she was coming straight up. But I'm like, I set the hook, and I was like, this might be a good fish. But when I'm fighting her, she was just coming up, and I was like, oh, this is a small fish, and she jumped like a foot from my hip. And inside, I was like, oh my God. People were like, how did you maintain your calm in that video? I was like, one, you can't see my face. I didn't say anything. I was just like inside, I was going crazy. Yeah. But it was awesome, man. I thought I'd never break my PB because my previous PB was 11.2. And I was like, I'll never break it. That's what I thought. And sure enough, on the lake that I didn't expect it on, it happened.
Right. That's awesome, man. Dude, I just absolutely love that area down there. I cannot wait to get back there. And of course, next time, you know, the trail series is going there in the springtime. So, you know, I'm excited about that.
Yeah. So before you get out of here, man, so in your practice, what pattern did you find in your practice? What things were you seeing that you liked when you were in practice?
Well, like I said, I mean, I did catch, you know, several fish on trees. And I thought I had something like even more specific going on the whole tree thing, but it either went away or other people found it in practice as well. And there was just too many people in the areas where I wanted to really concentrate on. I actually started in the area where I started back in the spring a couple years ago, but the difference was in the spring a couple years ago, I had the area to myself. Yeah. And I mean, I wasn't expecting that to have everything to myself this time, you know, but because I was by myself then, I didn't think there'd be a whole lot of people to, you know, snoop around and look and everything, but they did. They found it. I mean, you know, when you get that many people on the lake, they're going to find it. And they did. And but at the same time, it was kind of cool at the start because so I'm on a tree, right? Or I'm on a group of trees getting ready to make the first cast. And another guy is on a tree that's, I don't know, 75 yards away. He's getting ready to make the first cast. I'm like, okay, this is just going to be a circus. Everybody taking turns, going in circles around and around on these trees. Well, so we started, and I never get a bite to begin with, and that guy never got a bite to begin with. So I just kept fishing around for a little while, and then eventually I went ahead and motored over to the tree that guy was on, and he worked all the way around it just like he was supposed to, and he never did anything. I get over there, and my first fish I pulled off that tree was a 20.5. so that kind of made me feel a little good that I could at least maybe go behind somebody and still pick some off. Yeah. So anyway, the first day I ended up picking 4 out of that area, and it just got to be too much, I think. And of course, those voices in your head start playing, and I bailed. I got out of there. I didn't think I was going to do any good, and went to my secondary area, which is eventually where I fished the whole time on the second day, and I had a fantastic second day. So anyway, not to get off track on your question, but I mean, I tried to fish trees as much as I could, but I had to divert to some other stuff, fishing moving baits over grass and things like that. And day 3, just case in point, I mean, I got so lucky at the end of the day. I couldn't get a bite all day long, and I was like really seriously starting to lose it. And the last hour, that place is, I don't know what it is about that area down there, but the later in the day, the last hour of an event just seems to be magical. I just happened to come across a school of fish, and I caught my limit in 5 casts in literally like 15 minutes. And then I ended up calling 2 of those within the last 30 minutes of the tournament. And that's how I ended my day 3. Boom.
Jesus. Nice.
It was nuts. I know. It was just nuts.
I know. For me, man, I was
crazy.
What'd you say, George?
The afternoon bite in that area was crazy. Like,
oh yeah, so you experienced something similar to that?
Something very similar. Actually, it's funny that on day 3, Mike and I were paddling out kind of side by side, and we're like kind of looking at each other, and he looks over, he's like, where are you going? I'm like, where are you going? And, there's a light out in the distance. It's like I'm going about 5 degrees left of that light. He's like, oh, okay, cool. He went off one direction, I went the other. But it was funny because we were neck and neck with each other the start of the third day.
Yeah,
I could tell you for me, man. This is gonna sound crazy, but I had a terrible pre-fish. Well, for the most part, the last day of pre-fishing, I found some stuff, and some stuff that I was confident about. Don't get me wrong, I caught fish and pre-fishing, but there's difference between catching fish, but and then been having confidence in what you're doing catching them.
Yeah, I was a nervous wreck the whole time during my practice because being you have that potential. You know that, man, this could be the deal, or it could not completely be, complete opposite by the time things start. So my gut was in just churning the entire time I was out there pre-fishing and during the tournament. But you know what I mean? It's just when you're flipping, especially any flip out there could be just your average keeper, or it could be a fish in the life.
Absolutely, man.
That's what makes it exciting, though. That's why I love that place so much.
Dude, for me, I felt like on day 1, I didn't run into a pattern. I don't think I had a pattern on day 1. It was literally fishing the moment. Fishing the moment and fishing the conditions that you had right then for me.
Absolutely. 100%.
The day before that, I got on a pattern in an area, and I was very confident about it. And then when I pulled up to the ramp morning of day 1, there was 30 cars at the ramp. So, so I'm literally like, well, there goes what I was. I mean, if there's this many people here, not all of them are terrible fishermen. They probably stumbled onto the same thing I stumbled onto. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It was literally
right there with you.
Day 1. dude, I struggled day one. It was not like the day before in practice where I caught like almost 100 inches in like an hour and a half. And it wasn't like that. So day one, it was just like I struggled. I caught my fifth fish with 2 minutes. 2 minutes to go in the tournament. And it was a 14.5-inch fish. It was the most exciting 14.5-inch fish I've ever caught in my life.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah,
I do. I get it.
And that put me at 80. So I had 4 fish for 70 inches by like 9 a.m., 10 a.m. And then
Oh man,
I lost a 22 to 24-inch fish at the net. At the net, that would have been number 5.
That hurts.
On the second time trying to net her, and it killed me. It screwed my head up. I was done for like 3 hours, and then like I made a long run the last 30 minutes, and I had like 10 minutes to fish when I got to the area. And 2 minutes before timeout, I flipped up into a random tree. I was dragging a ugly otter in a plum with green flake, and this 14-inch fish like knocked it like it was a big fish. And I set the hook. And when I tell you I netted that fish, I netted that 14-inch fish. I was like, yeah, you're coming in there.
Yeah.
And she gave me 84 inches on day one. And I feel like that saved my tournament.
Yeah, that's great, man. That's great. Yeah.
Well, Mike, before you get out of here, man, you got anything else you want to add or tell the people, man, about it? It's already known you're a hammer. People are learning that. Like, I know coming in 2019 when you won, not many people knew, but I think everybody knows now.
I don't, man. There's an awful lot of good fishermen out there, and definitely congratulations to all the top anglers, to everybody for that matter. But especially the top finishers. They really put in the work, to get to where they did, and obviously my hats off to them, Cody and Guillermo, all those guys. They did a great job. Definitely want to thank all my sponsors, because we all have them, and we all know that we couldn't do what we do without them. So, the Yak Attack and Titan Tungsten and Fitzgerald Rods and Fishing Online, Rogue Fishing, all those guys. They're such a great team, and definitely want to give them all a shout out and lots of love. So.
Yes, sir. Won't you tell everybody where we finished? Won't you tell everybody where Team Yak Attack finished at?
Yeah, Yak Attack. Team Yak Attack finished 3rd, man. So, we got a little extra bonus money for it. So I was pretty happy about that.
Take that bona fide. All right, y'all ain't called me to be on the team, but Yak Attack did. That's what you did. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, man. So it was a good time. Like I said, I just absolutely love that area. The food was amazing. I'm sure you all can probably agree with that. I mean, we just had a big time down there. Can't wait to get back.
But the food was awesome. Yeah, you're right about that.
It was. So
appreciate you giving us the time, man, Mike.
Hey, thanks for having me for just a few minutes. Like I said, sorry I got to jump, but it was good, and looking forward to talking with you again soon, buddy.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
All right, y'all take care.
Everybody.
Be well.
And we got the man, Mr. Hank Vajon, joining us.
What's up, y'all?
What's going on, Hank, man?
What's up, Garrett? What's up, George?
How's it going, man?
Nice. Good to see you guys. Garrett, how's your kid playing?
Well,
my bad. I accidentally muted.
She's. Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Yeah.
I was gonna say she's playing all right, but they're getting drove as a team. That's just part of it some days, right?
Oh yeah.
Hey, speaking of the team thing, man, I'll just tell you, I've gotten the shaft 2 times down there now, and both times down there, my 2-day limit.
Oh, you talking about Old Town? Oh, you talking about Old Town? Okay.
Any team.
Yeah.
Not necessarily Old Town. I'm just saying any team. I wasn't on any team in the last 2 NCs down there in Shreveport. I would have definitely helped a team out. So maybe the next round, wherever down there, maybe I can, get picked up by somebody.
Y'all heard that? Y'all better pick this man up. Y'all out there losing inches because y'all not picking up Garrett.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I'll back him. What's up, Rodney? Can you hear us this time?
Yes, sir. I can hear you now.
All right.
Man, I'm going to jump in with a few things, and I'm going to hop off and watch this game. But
yes, sir.
I was going to share with folks, kind of like what Mike was saying, man, if you found a school out there, and I wasn't on Caddo, I was on one of the other lakes, But man, it seems like there was a ton of fish in there. I ended up marking 6 different schools on my graph. I only went to one of them. It was just so good after day one, it was hard for me to leave. But man, it was a lot of fun. Also, what you said about the venue itself, everything was planned out great. It wasn't that hour and a half, 2 hour long meeting that we've had in the past. It was crisp. They stuck to the agenda. They had food for us. You could tell a lot of planning went into it. Just as far as the NCs I've been to, that absolutely was the best one for sure. But kind of my strategy with pre-fishing was, man, I just took a buzzbait, and anywhere I could get a strike, I was putting a mark on the graph and just kind of dissected it that way. The area I found that I shared with 2 other guys, that's just kind of where I got the most bites and got my biggest bite. So I started there, and I wasn't the only one that had a good day out of that. That last day, we all had around 90 inches. So there was plenty of fish in there. You just had to rotate through it and give them a different look. On that last day, I was even throwing a donkey rig, the double fluke action, just to mix it up, do something different. I caught some fish that way.
That's for you swamp donkeys right there. That's for you swamp donkeys.
But it was a lot of fun. I caught most of my big fish on a small Spro Frog Junior in the white. It was a lot of fun. I caught a 21-incher that last day, which really helped my spirits, probably about 10 o'clock, and just kind of grinded out the rest of the day to coal up. I coaled twice in the last hour, and didn't get to submit those fish until after, 3 o'clock. So I didn't know where I finished, had no idea. So I was very blessed and grateful to get up there with some of the top anglers and cash a check, man. But it was awesome hanging out with you guys, and
it was, man. It was nice.
For a little bit.
It was nice to meet you, bro. It was good. I thought you were on Caddo though. I thought you fished Caddo. I didn't know you didn't fish Caddo.
Well, same thing as what Mike was saying. Like, I had a really good event last time on Caddo, and I didn't want to go back to Caddo because folks kind of figured out what I was doing on Caddo that last day, and I got a lot of company. So I wanted to go somewhere different. I didn't enter the pre-fish thing on purpose. I didn't want people to know that I was on fish. So I think some people kind of made a mistake by jumping in that. Like, you jump in there and start posting some big fish.
You talking about that pre-fish?
Yes.
About pre-fish segment? Oh, yes.
Yeah. People see your car at the ramp and they know who you are, and it's like, oh, well, he's on fish. I'll just go follow him to wherever he's going. So
I'm lucky. I'm lucky nobody knows me, man. So they can see my truck. They ain't know.
They will
know
now.
What's going on.
They will now. You post up an 11-pounder. So, I've never caught a double-digit fish. Maybe one day down there I'll stick one. But it was a lot of fun, man. Greg was awesome host. Let me crash with him. Helped me out with expenses. He's a good dude, man.
Yeah, he is. Greg's an awesome dude, man. But don't tell him I said that shit, all right?
All right, well, I'm going to hop off here and watch the ball game, man.
Yeah, man. Good luck to your daughter, man.
All right. Thanks.
Yeah, man. Have fun.
All right, see y'all.
All right, and that was Garrett Morgan. Hey, since George taking the screen up, what's up, George?
Yo.
That pretty face you got going on right there, man. George, why don't you tell? I don't know if everybody knows you, man. Why don't you tell everybody what team you're on first and foremost?
Motor City Ambassadors, man. Out of
Motor City Ambassadors. You guys made a lot of noise this past season,
we sure
man.
did, man. We had a hell of a time.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Didn't end the way you wanted it, but you definitely made a run at it.
I mean, it was tough fishing the last day against Brundle and the Massachusetts boys, but it was tough for them too, fishing their home lake. If you put, 8 KFL fishermen out on a lake that should be reasonably easy to figure out and have a lot of fish in it, and we only catch 3 amongst 8 of us for the whole day, it's tough. So
yeah, absolutely.
You figure
his name is not Brundle anymore.
What's that?
His name is not Brundle anymore. It's Shoe Cobbler.
Shoe Cobbler?
Yeah, I mean, that's the nickname he gave me before, but I told him I beat you at Murray, bro, and I'm going to beat you at the NC, and I beat him. So now he's Shoe Cobbler now. All right.
Good.
Shoe Cobbler.
Satan coming on later, I think I saw, so that's pretty good.
So what did you fish Caddo?
I fished Caddo. I had sort of limited time. I didn't get down there until Monday late morning. I didn't get on the water until about 10 a.m.
Okay.
And went straight there, drove through the night to get there and got to, like I said, one of the launch ramps at 10 a.m., got out on the water, and just my normal practice is I'd trade a Senko and just start chucking it around and seeing if I could start getting some bites. And I got into an offshore bite that I figured everybody's gonna be throwing a worm at cypress trees, and that's if anybody ran into me on the lake, that's what I said I was doing. I'm throwing a worm at cypress trees and just move on with life. But I actually got into a pretty good offshore bite, and there were lots of fish in a particular area, particular setup in multiple areas, and I was just excited as all get out because I didn't see anybody else doing it. So I go out there first thing, and I was off the water on Tuesday by like 10 a.m. Went out for the early morning bite to see if there were any schooling fish, how the top water bite was. It wasn't great for me, and it wasn't honestly great. I didn't run into one school of fish the whole week, and I wasn't that far off from where a lot of other anglers were catching schooling fish, but I was looking for them, paying attention, looking around. I just never ran into them. So, okay, I had to figure something else out. Monday was a tough bite for me, and I was struggling for most of the day. I had 2 fish up until about 2:45 in the afternoon, and was just fighting. And then at like 2:45, I caught a fish, and 2 minutes after that picture was taken, I had another fish on the board. So I was excited. By 2:47, 2:48, I'm in an area that I know there's fish. I fished hard. I fished my heart out, left it all out there, and I ended day 1 with only 4 fish for 65 inches. So I didn't get it day 1.
You still made it into the top 100. I think you were like one of a few guys who made it into the top 100 with 4 fish on day 1, right?
It was yep. So 65 inches the first day, and then the next day, and I was disheartened. I was down. I was bumming around. I wasn't in a good mood. I ended up at a restaurant and just eating some food, and then watched Corey Dreyer, Jody Queen, a few other guys, and Gene Dent was there and his son, and a few other guys were there, and ended up talking with Corey and Jody, and they pumped me up. Corey didn't have his best day either, and I
took care of it.
That's all good. Just like, wait, I'm hearing voices, but I'm glad they're not just in my head. So the we're fishing. He ends up pumping me up a little bit, and then I him, and just kind of felt rejuvenated because honestly, I looked at the weather back home. I was like, I'm out of here, man. I'm gonna go do something else. Let me see what's up. I was really kind of down in the dumps, and he talked me through it, and we talked about. I was like, you know what, we're here. Let's go fishing. Let's have a good day the next day, and went out day 2. A little bit more of the same. Went a different direction out of the ramp. Tried something else. Caught a 17 something. Caught a 12. I saw if there was a fish. I saw the biggest fish of the week that I saw there. If it was an ounce, it weighed 10 pounds. She came all the way out of the water, jumped, and then splash, just landed with a huge thud. And I spent about an hour chasing after that fish in this area. Couldn't get it to bite. And I just started running. I went back to that spot that I caught the 2 fish early or at the end of the day, that afternoon bite. I went over there to that area around, I don't know when, late morning, and just kind of started dissecting that and ended up catching a couple good ones. I caught a 21 and a half and on a wacky worm, which is great. And that's one of those bites where you're just, picking your wacky worm and, pop up, let it sit, pop up. And then you go to pop up and it's not there anymore. So, it's swimming toward you. So you reach down, set the hook, and you go to set the hook and you're like, okay, and thinking it's a little one running with it. You set the hook on that thing, boom, and it didn't move. It was there, and all of a sudden, the drag squealing, and off she goes. You're chasing it down because I'm in an area where there's some trouble around. There's a tree over that way. There's some lily pads over this way, and there's open water. I had to Harlan. The Hobie's working overtime as I'm chasing it around and keeping it going, and just not wanting to overdo it. And just once I got the head turned a little bit one way and out of the cypress knees, and out of the lily pads, it was a few minute fight on this fish because just with light spinning gear.
Gotcha.
And then that was kind of rejuvenating. Felt good. Started to break down that area and started doing pretty well and ended up with 91.75 on day 2. And
nice. That's a hell of a recovery, man. To go back from day 1 to
moving day. I went from like 180th place to up to 93rd, I think it was. So,
awesome. Hey, Hank, it sounded like you had a question for him. I think Hank had a question for you. Did you have a question for George?
Yeah, no. It was first. What's up, George? I just wanted to say I was so happy for you down at Nationals because little bit of history here. George turned up in our circle of guys like me and Corey and Jody stayed at the house with us at the FLW Cup, right?
Yep.
And seeing you grind that out after having only 4 fish and making the cut, I was like, yeah. I was pumped for you, man.
I feel like you sought me out. That meant a lot.
Yeah, I was like, when I was handing out the boards, doing the KBF work at the 100 there, I was like, I saw George coming. I was like, dude, this is for you. I handed him the board. And I was like, man, go get them. It felt really good doing that, man, because I had a pretty slow tournament. So seeing friends and especially somebody come up like George has been fishing, 3 years doing KBF stuff and other KFL. And I was really happy. But then when I saw your post that you found a topwater bite, did you say you caught him on a whopper plopper at one point?
That wasn't me. I didn't catch jack squat on a topwater all week.
Really?
Really?
Yeah, I must be confusing you with someone else. But just hearing Garrett before talk about the buzzbait bite, I was completely confused because I'm surrounded by reptiles in Louisiana, snakes, gators, frogs. Where's the topwater bite with all those frogs? I went there. I must have had 20 hollow bodies in my tackle box. It was like I might as well tie firecrackers on my line because the fish wouldn't look at them.
I went out with I didn't practice with a spook. I didn't practice with a buzzbait, and I didn't practice with a frog because in my head I knew they were going to bite it. I knew there was just no question. I find a spot and I can pop I can walk a spook or I can walk a walking bait around. It didn't matter if it was a regular, big spook or just a little baby spook or whatever, just any walking bait. I didn't get a sniff all week on the topwater, and that's how it was for me. It was a weird bite. Basically, my money baits were a jackhammer and a stickworm. A Smish X custom bait, a very particular color though. You saw it at the FLW Cup and all over the country, but that Charlie Special, which looks like a little gray with a little bit of reflectivity in it, a little pearl powder with a white tail on it, and that particular color, man, that was what most of my big ones came on, and that was just the work. It was either a jackhammer or a wacky worm.
Cool. So, hey George, you rocking with us for a minute, right? You don't have to be away in like 5 minutes.
What time is it? It's I gotta go about 5. Or about 5 Pacific. I'm out in San Diego right now.
Okay. So you're 3 hours. So it's okay. So you got more. Okay, cool. I just wanted to hit my man Rodney up and give him the stage for a minute.
Sure.
Can you hear me, Rodney?
Yes, sir.
How you doing, bro?
Doing good. Hey, it was nice to finally meet you.
Man, it was nice to finally meet you, the hammer, the myth, the legend, Mr. Rodney Kennan himself as well, man. So Rodney, man, why don't you tell everybody about your tournament? Man, I ran into Rodney at the ramp on day 2, was it, Rodney? Day 2 when I ran into you?
I think I saw you day 2 and day 3.
Yeah, day 2 and day 3, and this guy just consistently just hammered him like it was like no thing. It wasn't even like it was hard to come up with. He was just like, yeah, I got about 90 and a half, 90 this, 94 today, And I was like, oh, geez, Rodney. And then he started talking to me about some of the things that he did. And I was like, this guy here, I'm telling you people right now, this guy here has some knowledge. He has some tricks of the trade that I have never heard when he was telling me this stuff. And I was just like, let me take out my pen and pad and take some notes because this is good stuff.
They're actually inventions that somebody could probably make a fortune off of.
I'm telling you, people, the stuff he was telling me, like what he does, I was just like,
there's nothing on the market like it. So
nothing. I wouldn't even thought about it. Like he doctors up these lures himself to do these things to it, and I'm like, huh? What? What you tell him about what you do with the what was it, the worm you said you do that you put a skirt on? You know what I'm talking about?
Well, is there going to be a patent signed or a non-compete clause?
Hey, listen, everybody listening, or wherever you're watching, whenever you watch this or wherever you listen to this, do not take his idea and try to patent it. All right, Hank will find you, and Hank will make you.
Declaration and dibs is what this is.
Word.
Exactly. Word up. We come for you if you do it. You good? You don't need a patent.
I mean, I do it to all my plastics, but like say like a 10-inch worm, I'll take spinnerbait skirts and run them through a needle and put them through the top of the worm, like 3 of them, 4 of them, and have them hanging out each side of the worm. I call it my hairy worm. And then, I stick a rattler in them, or I take a ditcher tablet and stick in my worm so it fizzes. So it rattles, it fizzes, it's got hairy sticking up on the side. Just something different. I mean, you know. So
and it's
when
funny.
you,
It's you laugh at it, but I'm thinking like that is something I tell you almost 100% with 100% certainty. The fish have not seen before. And
yeah, like I like to use white skirts, and then I dip the end of the skirts. Like I'll have 4 skirts, and I'll dip 1 skirt each side, and I'll go like red, orange, blue, yellow, chartreuse, and then I'll back it up the opposite, coming back up the opposite way, red, orange, chartreuse, blue, and have all the different colors. And one key is when you throw that worm up next to a cypress tree, always make it hit the tree and bang that tree about a foot above the water. And then that knock kind of wakes them up. And then when that thing falls down and it's fizzing and rattling and those little skirts are wiggling and that big worm falling, oh, dude, they chomping on it.
Now I can't speak to the fizzing and the skirt and all that stuff, but what my man said about hitting the tree about a foot above the water and then dropping straight down, we got a lot of cypress trees in our lakes up here, and I 100% tell you that's what I do all the time. Like, for me, I call it a dinner bell. That's what I call it.
Just you're knocking on the door. Yeah, you're knocking on the door.
Just like when you're fishing near a pontoon boat, I try to I'll skip my jig and make it hang off that pontoon boat and then have it'll drop in. And
as long as the homeowner don't hear you doing that, they come out with a shotgun or a water hose on you. But
I mean, you're right. They do that. But yeah, man, that's the stuff I'm talking about. Like, I would never have thought about any of that. And this Rodney goes down. You live in that area, correct, Rodney?
Yeah, I mean, kind of what Garrett was talking about. I was a little butthurt too. Nobody asked me to be on a cut team because I kind of consider myself here in Northwest Louisiana. I'm the hammer. I mean, nobody around here can beat me.
Y'all heard
I got
it here.
knowledge on all the lakes. Now I may not be able to go as far and do some of the things a lot of guys do because I'm on oxygen. So, I can go as far as, I got to carry my oxygen with me and kind of stay close. But, oh, that looks good. Who's eating that?
Hank's over here. We're sitting here talking fishing and everything. Hank's over here showing his deluxe meal he just prepared. I know, right?
That's not quite
Rodney,
you got to share.
Rodney, no offense to your local cuisine, but when I walked into that KBF dinner and they had a skin gator up there, I was like, hell no.
Man,
I'm 100% Italian. I'm not allowed to eat a lizard. So I've been eating chicken parm since I got home.
That looked pretty
fried
good.
Gator tail is pretty good.
So Rodney, you put up what 90 inches all 3 days, 90 inches plus?
Yeah, my goal going in was I figured if I could average 85 a day, I could get a check. And I averaged 90 a day and finished 23rd. So that just gives you an idea how good all these guys were doing.
I mean,
it's amazing how well these guys figured it out. I got a neighbor dog barking. I'm going to walk back in the house.
What I figured out, people, I'm going to tell you right here 100%. What I figured out with Bistino. So I'm going to do my recap really quick. I'm just going to run through it. I didn't pre-fish Bistino. I tried to. The 2 ramps I went to had no water on them. The water line was literally like 50 to 60 yards away from where the ramp was. And I was like, well, this is crazy. I'm not going to Bistino. Okay. So I didn't pre-fish Bistino at all. I pre-fished Cypress Bayou and I pre-fished Caddo. Day 1, I went to Caddo. I put up 70 inches in the first 3 hours on 4 fish. Didn't catch fish number 5 until 2 minutes prior to the tournament being over, and I ended up with 84 and a quarter. I did not go back to that spot because, in practice I caught close to 100 inches in like an hour and a half. But on tournament day, there was 30 kayaks there in the morning. There's at least 30 kayaks at the ramp, and I struggled on day 1 to put up a good limit there. And I was like, everybody there was just beating my spots up. So I was like, I'm not going back there. That pattern's not going to hold. A little bit resemblance of a pattern I had. So I was like, I hit up Greg Nosar, man. I was like, man, what are you going to do tomorrow? He was like, man, he wasn't going to do the same thing he did day one. He's like, I'm going to hit Bistineau. And I was like, well, I don't think is there a way to get up in there without dragging the kayak 100 yards? He's like, there's a ramp that has water. So he told me the ramp. I was like, you mind if I come out there? I'm not gonna follow you, bro. I'm just gonna hit up the lake. So I went to Bistineau with no practice there, no pre-fish at all. So I had to figure out the tournament on day 2. And I was lucky enough I got there. I caught my first fish in like the first 10 minutes. It was like a 16-inch fish, which was cool. Didn't catch any other. Well, that's a lie. I caught like 5 other fish in that area, but they were all like 12 inches long. Didn't matter. Ended up catching a few other good fish. So I had 73 inches on 4 fish, and it was like 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning. And I was like, this better not be a repeat of day 1, because I was feeling like it was going to be a repeat. And then I caught, I want to say I caught a 21, which gave me a 90-inch limit on 5 fish. So I was like, I'm cool. So I made a move, and I started fishing. I started catching a couple fish, but they weren't upgrades. And I was like, you know what? I got 90 inches. It's like noon. I think I can catch fish here. I don't want to blow this area up. So I cut my jig off that I was catching them on, and I was like, I'm going to do something else just to see if I can find something else. So I tied on a swim jig and perch pattern, sunfish pattern, whatever you want to call it, with the Gambler swim bait on it and Gold Rush. And I was just throwing this around. I was in 2 foot of water and a bunch of cypress trees. And I was in 2 foot of water, and I just started throwing it around, man. And when I tell you my third cast, I popped a 19.5, and then like took a picture of that. That took me to 94.5, and I was like talking to people like, man, should I keep fishing this area? And it's like, hey, man, you got a deficit. Go for 100. And I was like, okay, you're right. So I kept fishing. I kept throwing the swim jig, thinking it was just a random thing. And when I tell you I caught like 10 to 15 fish in the 17 to 17.5 inch range in this area in the next 2 hours, I was like, this is ridiculous. This place is all like, this place is ridiculous. And I stumbled into that pattern. And then I literally stumbled into that pattern, man. But none of them were upgrades because I needed bigger than 17.5 inch fish to upgrade. But everything was 17 to 17.5. That's always how it works, ain't it? Ain't it, George? Ain't it always how it works?
Yeah, whatever you need is not what you get.
Yeah, exactly. But I was like, hey, for day 3, this is a quick, 85 to 90 inch limit over here in this area. So I was ecstatic. And then when the weather came in, I was like, that area number 1 with the way the weather shifted, I was like, it's going to be on point. And I was like, it's going to be a topwater bite. I hadn't thrown topwater at all this whole entire tournament. But I thought with the weather and the location that I was fishing, it was going to be a topwater bite. And I was right. Unfortunately, I don't ever fish topwater. And I guess I suck at it because in the first hour, I missed 6 fish that were in the range of 18 to 20 inches on a sexy dog. I have the video for it. I was going to share it all tonight, but I'm not going to waste time. Hit up my Facebook page. I'll share it all 6 of the losses, the misses, but they were exploding on it. And maybe you people who are good with topwater can give me some tips on how to go, because I was swinging, and another guy told me you have to set the hook like it's a crankbait, and I was like, that doesn't make any sense, but maybe I'll try it. I don't know. I missed 6 fish, 18 to 20 inches. Say again?
Wow. You gotta hold your tongue a little different. Going one side versus the other.
Hold your tongue, exactly. And I missed a lot of good fish. I ended up day 3 with 80 inches, so I dropped like 15 spots, but it was still a great tournament. I still had a ball, man. I still caught a lot of fish, and I still caught my PB, so I can't be upset. And I cashed a couple checks. So
no, it was a dang blast, man. And day 2 was rejuvenating. It kind of put the air back in your sails of 91.75 with a 21. You think, oh man, that's great. And so you come back in, and it's like, all right, cool. And did you make it? And then that moment of not knowing whether or not you did, not where you're going to end up. And I knew what my total was. And then when Chad at the announcements decided to start at the top and go down, that killed me. Because I knew it was at the top. Like, just start at the bottom. Give me a number so I know. Get on with it. So it ticked all the way down. got to 93 and he called my name, and I was absolutely thrilled. And like I said, Hank handed me the board, and I felt like he saw me. He was a heat-seeking missile when he came up, and he's like, "Yeah, this is you earned it," and I appreciated that more than words can describe. And I got a lot of words, and but day 3 was kind of, I knew exactly where I was going, and I was going to camp on my spot. I announced it at the ramp. There were only 4 or 5 boats at the ramp on our launch at Caddo that morning. Everybody been there all week, and I was like, "Hey, I got a spot. I don't have an area. I don't have a pattern. I've got a spot that I think I know why they're there, but I really don't. I had no clue at that time, and kind of pieced together a couple things throughout day 3, where I was able to sort of figure it out a little bit more. And day 3 was still the best day yet, with 96.5 inches, including a 23, which is my PB.
So if I'm hearing or understanding correctly, you improved every day. That's awesome, man. That is awesome.
And fish like crazy, and then the midday bite died for me from like 11:30 until 2. I didn't hardly catch anything, and you stumbled into a couple here and there, but the bite just died off. And every day, 2:30 from 2:30 on, there was a fire bite. And I was looking at where I was, and I remember seeing where things cut off, and I'm like 96.5. I need 10 more inches to get into check range, and I was like, man, that would have been a hell of a thing to cash a check without a limit. And that was kind of midway through the morning. That was my goal. When I had a 23, 20.5, and a 20.25, and I had some 16s I was looking to call. I'm like, that's not out of line if I find the right ones. And
you say you had some 16s to call?
Yeah.
Oh, you're absolutely right. That's not out of line. Absolutely right.
Like it's possible. And I fished clean all week except for day 3. I had a couple fish get off that were all big, and that was it was just a bummer. But that's fishing. Got into an area, broke down the area, and started just working my way out, because I'd have a spot, and these fish were all transient. They weren't residents. They weren't there and staying there. I feel like I could have thrown a worm and dragged it across this area all day long and never burned up that spot, because the fish was moving from one feeding area to another, and it made sense, and it just kind of broke down. And there was one other angler in the area who got onto the area and what that place was, but I don't think exactly had what I was doing. And I didn't see anybody day 2. Nobody got within 100 yards of me on day 2. Day 3, somebody else started up on the other side of a clump of cypress trees. And honestly, that close, that's fine. We were doing 2 totally different things. He was welcome. He didn't start off catching them and went around, did some other stuff, but he'd found that same area, but not that exact spot that I was doing and how it was. So it made me feel pretty good that I stumbled across that. But, it was in an area, a high percentage area. It was in a place the fish should have been. And I felt like I wasted a lot of time on day 1 looking where fish weren't. I went too deep, and I started off offshore, away from a lot of stuff. And they were there in practice, and then they were gone, and I didn't quite go shallow enough. And then once I realized that, hey, I need to be under 3 feet, and that was the difference for me.
Yeah, man, they were super shallow, man. Especially on Bistineau. And one thing I wanted to add about Bistineau, and I think it's about reservoirs in general, at least in the South, in the hurricane areas. So in those areas, they drain the reservoirs down in preparation for flooding waters or whatever if a hurricane comes through. So Bistineau, I didn't realize that those cypress trees are normally in 10 to 13 foot of water. And Rodney, you can attest to this, right? Because you live there, right?
Yeah,
I didn't realize that, and I didn't even pay attention to it when I was launching there. And it wasn't until pulling back in on day 2 that I realized, oh shit, the water line is actually up there on these cypress trees, not like right there, up there. And the ramp where you launch was like the end of the dock. You know how there's a dock on every launching ramp. The end of the dock was like 10 feet away from where the water was. I didn't realize that when I launched at all. And then I realized it was that low. So all those cypress trees that we were fishing in 2 foot of water was normally in like 10 to 13 foot of water.
Yeah, correct.
So when they draw that down, that concentrates all those fish. So that's how God, what's his name? I feel bad. The guy won Guillermo. Yeah. Yeah, that's how though him and Cody and all those guys were able to find these. Like, if you found them with that water drawn down, you found them. They were stacked up, and if you could figure out how to get them bite, you could have those 100-inch bags in like 2 hours. Like some of the guys were really quick. And on this lake on Bistino, they drew the water down, so like all those trees were in like 2 to 3 foot of water. And when you found the schools, they were mega schools of big fish.
Yeah, the bass. A lot of the bass are so shallow they got ticks on their backs.
Yeah. Yeah, I was my first area, I saw them chasing in literally like 8 inches of water, and you'd see a back come out of the water that's like this big, this thick, and you're just like, that is a monster. I didn't want to go up there because there was a gator between me and those fish. So I was like, hey man, you can have your area. I'm not gonna go up there unless, you know, it's like an hour left and I ain't got no fish. Then I might go up there and push you out of the way. But yeah, that was crazy, man. Like I had never actually seen that before. I've read it before, you know, that they do that for the hurricane areas down there. But then when I got on Bistino and actually saw that they draw that water down so much and then see the fish congregate together in multiple schools. Because these guys were fishing schools individually. Like they'd be probably 100 yards away from each other, but they'd be fishing their own schools. And it was just nuts. It was literally nuts. I was fishing in the same area as Christine Fisher and Russ Snyder's as well. So it was like, I don't want to step on these people's toes. You don't want to step on other guys' toes. And everybody's fishing their own school of fish. And I was just like, I had never experienced that before. You know, and you're using side scan to find schools of fish in 2 foot of water. And you know what? Shout out to Humminbird. I'm not sponsored by Humminbird, but shout out to Humminbird. That side scan works in less than 2 foot of water.
Yeah, all 3 days I fished, I never saw another kayak.
Really?
Yeah.
Where did you fish on Bistino? Did you go left or right?
South of Peggy's Island towards the dam.
I fished Peggy's Island was my starting point.
Yeah. No, I was south. Everybody went north, and that's the only reason I went south. I actually fished new waters all 3 days.
And you caught them on jackhammer as well, didn't you?
Yeah. Yeah, I would throw that in a spinnerbait, and then when if I had a short hit, which I had a lot of short hits, I'd go back with that worm, trying to pick it up with a worm.
Day 3, I had a dozen short strikes or more. It was I was getting bumped a lot, especially day 3.
On the jackhammer?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even realize we had Arlie in the house, man. What's up, Arlie? I didn't realize you was down there. My bad.
Yeah. How y'all doing?
Arlie.
Say, how y'all doing?
Rodney, you were like the color of consistency. I think you had like what 92 to 94 inches all 3 days.
I had 90 first day, 85 second day, 95 third day.
Okay.
So yeah, I averaged 90.
You averaged 90. Yeah.
And yeah, I figured if I could average 85 a day, I'd get a check, which of course that wouldn't have got you one. But
Yeah.
with what averaging 90 a day, if this would have been 2 years ago in the spring, I would have been in 6th place. So I just tell you how good these guys did. I mean, for it to be the fall, these guys went out and showed out. I mean, it was
actually, Caddo actually outfished Caddo from the spring. Caddo fall outfished Caddo from the spring in this tournament.
Yeah, all Bistino just, actually I'm
sorry, not Caddo, but the NC. The NC outfished.
Yeah, I wish everybody wouldn't have done so well because my little quiet secret lake is now blown up.
Yeah, a lot of people said that they were on Bistino, and yeah, wait for it because in the coming months you're probably going to have, well, especially in the spring, it's going to be chock full of people.
Yeah, I went out there today for about 4 hours, and there was nobody at the boat ramp. I was the only one there when I launched, the only one there when I got back.
How'd that boat tournament do the day after we left?
That Saturday, my neighbor fished it, and he said 15 pounds won it.
we tore that place up, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, we demolished that
You
place.
You figure the leaders average probably what, 25 pounds a sack a day?
25 to 30, I'd say. Yeah.
Yeah, because I figured I averaged 20 pounds a day. with 90.
Yeah,
So
my,
yeah, they were averaging 25, 27, 28 pounds a day. That's incredible.
yeah, my day 2, I was definitely between 20 and 25 pounds.
Yeah,
So,
that's crazy.
Yeah, that place was awesome. I think there's a KBF. I think it's KBF, right? In the spring, there's a trail event next year.
Yeah, yes, it's going to be on Caddo.
Oh, it's going to be on Caddo. Okay,
It's going to be on Caddo.
which should also be good. I mean, I caught them pretty good on Caddo as well. That should be
Yeah.
awesome as well. But yeah,
Yeah, I
Rodney,
couldn't get my son. I tried talking to my son to come out there to Bistineau, but him and Greg and Brad Case, they all thought they were on something out there at Caddo.
the river. Now they went to the river day 1. I thought they went to the river day 1.
Okay, did they?
Yeah, they went to the river day 1.
Okay. Well, I know, I didn't even do any pre-fishing. I took Greg out there the Friday before the tournament and showed him some spots, and he caught 85 inches just messing around.
That's good
So
for
I
Greg.
assumed he was going to come
That's
back.
awesome for Greg.
Yeah, well, he ended up going, with all the other guys on the day of the tournament somewhere else, and
Greg's a heck of a wacky rig Cinco fisherman.
Oh, he's a good fisherman. Yeah.
Wacky rig.
He was
Cinco
throwing that
fisherman.
Ned rig or wacky rig. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's about all he throws. The Warhawks suck, by the way.
Rodney, it's been cool listening to you talk, man. Because if you can do all that on oxygen, I couldn't imagine what I'm capable of. Like my hat's off to you, man. That's impressive.
Well, I didn't even get to the ramp every day till like 8:30. I was done by 2:30.
Did you do it with a bottle of whiskey in your hand too?
No, I don't drink. But I will tell you this: on day 3, I ran out of oxygen around 1 o'clock. And I was on the end of Peggy's Island. I called up my son, Brad. And I was scared. I actually started crying. I was scared. I was out of breath. I couldn't breathe. I was having a heat. I was broken out.
Wow.
I was like, Brad, you got to come get me, dude. Because I was mentally exhausted. I usually only fish 1 day a week. So for me to go out there 3 days in a row, it was just way too much on my body. But I somehow made it back to the ramp, seeing stars and dizzy. I was actually on my knees in my bona fide, and I was using my hand on my trolling motor because I was afraid I was going to pass out and fall out of the boat.
You have
And
a
I
foot
made it
control.
back to the ramp, on my foot control.
Yeah, you have foot control trolling motor on your bonafide, right?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And I made it back to the ramp, and I remember crawling up the hill, and I had oxygen in my truck. And anyway, I ended up passing out in front of my truck. And next thing I know, Brad and another angler pulled up. And next thing I know, they were picking me up off the ground and starting my truck, getting AC going and hooking up my oxygen. And they got me revived and going again.
Man, oh man, talk about leaving it all out there. If there ever was
Rodney,
perseverance and resilience.
That's
man.
what I do. Hey, that's how I am. I mean, I'm one of them. If it's 4th and 2, give me the ball. I will get you 2 yards. I
And then
won't
give
be
me
able to
some
get
oxygen.
you again, but I'll do it once.
And then give him some oxygen after that.
Then give me
Rodney,
some oxygen and I go again.
That's a hell of a thing, man. That's impressive. That's a heck of a story.
What was that, Randy?
Well,
Glad you made it. I mean, they're just little green fish. They ain't worth dying over, but holy shit, you put that's dedication.
no, I don't know. I love it. Hey, I'm stubborn, stupid, and that's what I do.
That's
That's
so
why
sustainable.
you're a cockroach. You're hard to kill, man. That's impressive. That's good.
Yeah, I'm like one of them big old palmetto bugs in Florida.
What was that, Hank?
Rodney, did you go out and fish again after you passed out at the ramp?
No, this was like at 2 o'clock when I got back on
Oh.
Friday. No,
All right.
of course not. No. I was done.
Yeah, I ran into him at the ramp when I got back on Friday.
Yeah, I had to sit in my truck 45 minutes in the AC,
Yeah.
sucking air,
and he was
so I could get my senses back.
telling me about it. This is true story, people. This is real. He was telling me about it. I was like, damn, Rodney, that's some dedication, brother. I mean, did you catch him?
I've done it several times, so I do it all the time out there.
Hey, man, but stay safe while you're out there, man. We want to keep
I
Rodney
am.
Kennan out there on that water. All right.
I am. I got one of them tethers hooked to my loop belt on my pants, so If I fall out, I won't go far.
Well, lucky there's not many alligators in Bistineau. I only saw one, and he was only like 3 feet long. So
Yeah, there's not. There's really, honestly, yeah, there's not that many in the main lake. They're all up north of the bar pit.
you damn New Orleaners are crazy.
And they were on the dinner table, man. That was delicious alligator tacos. That was fantastic.
Where the hell did you have alligator tacos at?
At
How did
dinner,
I miss this? I missed that?
apparently.
Got to be more careful. All right.
No, they were delicious. But I got to step off. It's been awesome, Rodney. That's a hell of a story, man. My hat's off to you. And if there ever was an award for grit, perseverance, and willingness to die for these fish, you won it.
Hey, you only live once. I've been waiting. I wasn't able to attend the NC last year because I was in the, that's when I got sick. I didn't fish for almost a year. I didn't even get back in a boat until the end of May this year fishing.
Yeah, next time we're down there, if we have a Smishx team again, where you're going to be on it.
Oh, well, hey, I would appreciate it. I know where they're at around here. I may not be able to go out and get them, but I know where they're at.
Appreciate you coming on, George, man. Tell everybody your team, and then if you got any sponsors, anything you want to say before you leave, man.
We didn't have really time to get a team together this year, but last year we had Smishx Custom Baits had a team cup. That's my one sponsor, good buddy Rick Smishek, and scbaits.com. You can customize your baits kind of however you want, and extremely customizable. Is a great guy to work with, and really good baits, and can set those up. He sponsored my series through the Gribby Grassroots Bass Yakking at Niona Lake in northern Indiana this year, and he was an outstanding sponsor and supporter of kayak fishing, and Air Force veteran, and all around good dude. So like I said, with the KFL stuff, Motor City Ambassadors, and the teams that we've had, the teams that we put together this year, we had a ton of fun. We brought back all of our anglers next year and are kind of sorting out who's going to be on the team and added to the roster for 2022. So it's awesome that everybody's coming back. We keep that dynamic and all that fun. And you can catch us at the mini golf course, drinking the night before, flipping and pitching our jigs into the putt-putt course. So
hell yeah. That sounds like practice right there. I like that.
Yeah. That was a good time, man.
I'm gonna steal it. All right, George. You have a good night, man.
Yeah, be well. See you guys.
Yeah. Appreciate you. All right, Arlie. Since you joined us all late, Arlie, the floor is yours. What's up, baby? How you doing?
How y'all doing?
We good, man. We good, man. I'm sorry, man. I apologize. I don't think I saw you while I was down there.
Well, I looked for you. I seen you a couple times, but every time I seen you, you was with a crowd, like signing autographs and stuff. So I was
hey, people, don't believe this. Don't believe this.
Every time I seen you was with a crowd, because I talked to George, I talked to Hank, I talked to Greg Note, I talked to everybody. You, like I said, every time I looked, you was with a crowd, so I didn't bother you. I don't like messing with somebody talking to people, and I know, like I said, you was getting information or giving information. I don't know which one, but
hey, don't let Robert lie to you.
Oh, I
ain't even taking a bath. He's side my left breast.
Oh, I believe it. There was a crowd around him, and I'm like, man, I didn't bother. And I knew off that 11-pounder or whatever it was, a 12-pounder. I said, he's going to be the talk of the show down here, and he was.
My mom said I got to take a bath tonight and get this crap off me.
So many lies.
Robert Brown on my left chest, on my left booby.
Hey, if black people could blush, you'd see me blushing right now. This is all lies, though, people, but it's funny as hell.
I had a good time down there. Like I said, I did get to see a lot of people and see some of the old friends I ain't seen in a few years, and it was good and all. And I had a good time. I had caught, like you said, like everybody said, caught a bunch of fish. I mean, I wouldn't be disappointed if they said they was going back there next year at the same time. I'd be there, because, like I said,
absolutely.
That place showed out for the fish, for everything. Everything around there was great. So
wasn't the whole thing just a good time? It was just awesome. The whole thing, man.
At the convention center, and there with all the with the ones that showed up for that, and then the ones out there at the when we went out to the park out where all the food trucks and everything was. That was great out there too. So had a good time with all. But my fishing, pretty much, I showed up down there, got down there Sunday afternoon, and I got on the water for about an hour, and I caught a few fish. So I was excited about that, because I've gotten to places before and gotten on the water for days and not even caught a fish. So I was glad to get on the water for about 2 hours and caught a few fish. Got off Sunday evening. Monday morning, I went back to that spot, and I caught more fish, and I actually caught a let me think if I had that right. Yeah, I actually caught a 21 inch on a buzz bait, and I thought, okay, it's going to be okay. And I thought, so I pre-fished there at that spot on Monday, and then Tuesday I went to a different place, and I didn't see nobody at this place, and I caught fish. So Wednesday morning I go there, and I wind up finishing the day. I think I wound up catching 25 bass or something roughly. Wound up with like 79.75, I believe. And I only seen, let me think a minute now. That was Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday I only seen, I think that's right. Yeah, I only seen 2 other kayakers in there, and one stayed and fished about an hour or 2, and the other ones didn't even stay. And the other guy caught 4 or 5 bass, nothing big, but he caught a few. And so then Thursday, so okay, on Wednesday night, I was in 105th place, and I thought I'm sitting okay. Well, I made the fisherman's mistake. I went back to the other spot on Thursday that I originally went to pre-fish on Monday or Tuesday, whatever day it was. I can't remember. Monday, I think. And I was wanting to save the place I was at on Wednesday for Friday if I made the 100. And like I said, I went back Thursday. I caught quite a few fish. I caught 15, but none of them were like 14 and 15 inches. But everybody around me wasn't catching nothing. I mean, one guy I talked to, I think he caught 2 bass all day, and they were short. And I caught my limit and coiled maybe 1, but I only wound up with like 69 or 70 inches. So that hurt me. So I wound up 112th when it all was done. But anyway, I did go fish Friday because I'd already paid for the place and I was down there. So Friday, I go back to my place I was at Wednesday and made myself sick. Didn't see no kayakers that day at all. And I didn't even fish hard. And I caught probably 20 to 25 bass again and wound up with about 80 to 85 inches. So I should have went back there Thursday and fished. There was fish there. I would have had no problem. I ain't saying I would have made the 100, but I would have a better chance to make the 100.
Yeah.
And like I said, I wound up 112th. So I only fell back, 6 places or 5, 7 places, whatever. So, but I just made the decision to go to another place on Thursday, and I should have went back to my original place, and I think I've been okay. So anyway, I didn't.
So do you think it was a bad decision you made, or?
Yeah, that was me. It was I talked myself. I talked myself out of it because I guess what I'm trying to say, I felt like I guess I had too much confidence on thinking I was going to make the 100, but I thought my second place would have enough fish to get me in the hundreds, what I was trying to say. And then I was going to really go hammer on Friday. And instead I should have just went in, hammered on Thursday and made the 100, then worried about where to go Friday. That was just a fisherman, or that was my mistake. The fish were there. There was fish for all 3 days now that I realized that, but I didn't know it at that time. Now, and I lost one Friday there that I thought was a little one. Like you said, I barely set the hook because when it come up, it was on top. It basically come up and boiled. And when it hit, it didn't do a big swallow. Like a big bass usually come up and it'll engulf something. Went up and grabbed what I was fishing with, which was a little worm, and it went down. And I said, it's a little one. So I just kind of switched my rod real fast. Well, when I set the hook, he took off, and then he jumps out of the water over here to my right, and he was probably an 18 to 20 incher. I mean, he was a good 5-pound fish, but anyway, there was fish there is what I'm saying. That place had fish. And I only seen out of the 3 days, I pre-fished there one day and then fished there Wednesday and then fished Friday. So 3 days, I only seen 2 kayakers the whole time.
That's just, I envy that, man, because.
Yeah, and like I said, I made myself sick. I think it was George talking a while ago, or was it George saying he was so upset and disappointed at himself that one day? Well, that was me Thursday night, because after I found out I didn't make the 100, all the way riding back over to where I was at an hour away almost, I was just upset at myself. I was disappointed in myself, so. And I still am, because I know that I would have been a lot better off to have fished all 3 days in that one area. So anyway, but I had a good time. Like I said, no doubt, I had a great time. The fishery was great. Like I said, if they said they was going there next year for the championship during that time, I'd go, and I might try to go down there in March, because man, I know the fishing will be good. I don't know if it'll be that good, but I'm thinking about riding down there. I know it's a long ways. It's about 6 hours for us from here north.
So I'm thinking about going
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah.
I could tell you on day 3, the last hour, I found an area that looks like it's a historical area. And what I mean by that, it looks like what happens here in that area happens in that area every year. I found an area that was literally like 200 square yards of nothing but bluegill beds. And when I found this area, I would see the bluegill beds on my side scan, and I'd see dots sitting inside these bluegill beds.
Yeah.
And my second cast of my jig, I didn't realize that a bass had it because on day 3, the wind was blowing like crazy, and I'm dragging my jig, and I didn't realize I'm sitting there dragging my jig, but I wasn't dragging my jig. I was actually just dragging a fish. And by the time I realized there was a fish on there and I went to set the hook, he spit it. So I knew it was bass. Dude, this area, and it's normally when the water's up, which will be in the spring, the water will be up. It looks like it's usually in about 15 feet of water. I marked it. I made sure to mark it on my fish finder. And I think I would go back there with the jig and a 1-ounce chatterbait and just wear them out right there. Dude, I was like, I may go back. I may go back.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So I'm gonna look and see.
Harley,
Yes, sir.
what lake did you fish?
I fished cat. I was around guys. I know on day 3, I don't know how close he was to me, but Ron Champion wasn't real far away because I seen his truck, so I know he was in the area. He still could have been a mile from me, but the ramp was a little ways apart. But he was in that area. Is what I'm trying to say. I don't know exactly where he fished. I'm just saying. But I was on Caddo. I was on the Texas side. That's what I'm trying to say. So, I mean, because Caddo in a small lake, it borders. Well, everybody, all of us know it's Texas and Louisiana, but I was on the Texas side. So,
Hey, Rodney,
Yes, sir.
can I ask you a question about a different lake? It's where I fished.
Sure. Yeah.
What do you know about this place, Black Bayou Reservoir?
That's where I caught my PB.
Yeah, I'm impressed you did that, Robert, on Black Bayou.
Yeah.
And that's the one that's right next to Cypress up in Benton. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where
What
Yeah,
do you know about it?
And y'all could only fish half the lake because they're doing that bridge repair. They didn't want nobody going underneath the bridge fishing the other half of the lake. So y'all are just up on the north end. No, it's a good little lake. They wildlife and fisheries, they stock it every year with Florida bass. They don't
Robert,
stock
what do you-
Cypress.
What do
They
you
only
want to
stock
know?
Bayou.
What do you want to know?
Robert, what do you know about it? Do you know the history of that lake?
Oh, do I know the history of it? No, sir. I do not.
So check
You about-
this out.
you about to
That's where
educate
I
us?
fished.
Okay.
That's where I fished in 2019. And I just had a feeling about the place. I fished there with some guys that I ran into. We were just chatting. And on tournament day in 2019, I had predicted that these fish were going to start moving into a certain area, and they did. But unfortunately, Jody Queen and Brian Aliff also moved into that area. So we were beating up on the same fish during the tournament. And, when anyone's fishing against Jody Queen, you're getting scraps from the table. So I was fishing that area. On the day coming out of that event, a boater on the lake caught a 14-pounder out of that lake, Robert.
wow.
So I asked a local guy, like, what's up with this lake? It's small. How could it produce this quality of fish? That used to be a slot lake.
Oh, yeah. I did know that. Yep.
So that lake used to have a slot limit. So Arley, it's like Harris. Like you can't keep those fish, but the breeders have to stay in the lake, the good genetics.
That's wrong.
So this year I went back there and I ran into a homeowner who was out fishing with his brother. And I said, what's up with the lake? Just asking some general questions. And he said, well, they cut the lake in half. You can't fish past the bridge. And I was like, oh, no. Because that was my plan, was to fish the other side the next day. And he told me that there were 3 13-pounders caught in tournaments there this year.
Wow.
So that lake has a history of producing really quality fish. So, Robert, I'm not surprised to hear you caught your PB there. That's a good fishery, but it's fickle.
It's
I
tough.
fished it.
Yeah.
I fished it for 4 days. I fished it. The lake was cut in half, so I cut it in half again in practice. And me and a couple guys were just fishing, going through it. And some guys were doing well, some guys weren't. And I wasn't really sticking my fish. I was trying to save them as best as I could. Occasionally, I'd hook one and then let it go or shake it off. And I felt pretty good about that lake, and I did not do well there. So I'm going to speak on behalf of all the guys who struggled at the tournament. I finished right in the middle of the pack. And, you know, when you're down there fishing those lakes, if you don't find them, it's hard to find them and figure them out. If they're not where you found them in practice, they're not predictable in the way that I expected them to be predictable. I was expecting, okay, the fish aren't here in the channel, they're going to be on the flat. Well, they were under the docks. Like, you know, that didn't even cross my mind. And
I know exactly what you mean, because when I expected them to be under the docks, they weren't there. They were in the channel.
And like you said, they were really shallow behind the docks.
Mm-hmm.
And I was fishing the front of the docks at the deeper edge of the channels once I figured out that there might be some bites around the docks on day 2. And I caught a lot of short fish. So I only caught, I think, 8 or 9 keepers during the tournament that were scoreable. But on the last day, check this out. The guy I was fishing with, his name's Kenny Wood. He's from Colorado. And we had kept checking this point, a main point on the lake, because I had marked fish there on Monday. And we went back every day, and they weren't there. On Friday, so I missed the cut. He went back there on Friday. He set up on that point. And when you talk about those schools and how they gang up in schools and you got your own school of fish, he found like a mega school and caught like 50 fish in the last 2 hours off of that one point.
Wow. Yeah.
So why were they there on Friday and Monday and not Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday? It was just a weird thing to figure out, because that's not like the other lakes like Caddo and Bistino. It's a smaller lake. It's got twists and turns and docks and different structure and kind of habitat. But it's a good lake. I want to plug that lake, because if we ever go back there, someone's going to figure that lake out, especially that back half that's been closed. I would fish it again, even though, you know, I was disappointed in how it went this time, because that is a good fishery and it gets overlooked. It doesn't get the pressure the others do.
Right.
Yep, absolutely. And it's tougher, man. It gets a lot of local pressure.
Yes.
A lot of local pressure. And honestly, if you're not comfortable fishing deep, if they're not sitting on docks or sitting really shallow and you're not comfortable fishing some deeper water, you're not going to catch bigger ones. You'll catch some cookie cutters. But if you're going for the bigger bite, like I found them stacked in the channels there, Hank, stacked. And they were, I was like, I'm not dealing with trying to catch these fish in this channel. I would get a fish or two like every hour. And I'm like, nah, I can't depend on this for a tournament.
Right.
I talked to some of the locals while I was out there too. And they were telling me about how, a few days ago, a guy caught a 10-pounder, dragging a jig in the channel. And I'm like, dragging a jig in the channel?
Yeah.
That sounds so boring. I don't know if I want to do that.
Yeah, it's not why we went to Louisiana.
Yeah. But he was like, when he told me, he was like, this is the class of fish out there. And it's funny because after I caught my PB, went into this creek, and I hate to say it, I threw a wacky rig. So don't judge me, people. I threw a wacky rig, and I had one on. It was about an 8-pounder. It jumped off underneath the dock, and it was a resident fish because he swam right back underneath the dock. But I was like, this lake has big fish, but the bite just wasn't consistent enough for me to use it for tournament days.
Mm-hmm. That's where I made a mistake. The lake tricked me. I went out there and practiced, and I had good bites, and I thought, okay, I'm good. I'm ready. Like, there was some quality fish here. And then I went back, and those quality fish were gone, and I was just catching 10, 11, 12, 13, 15-inch fish. Like, That lake fooled me, man. It's a tough one.
I think it's a healthy lake, man. I really do think
Oh,
that
yeah.
lake's a healthy lake. Yeah.
I love those lakes down there. Cypress is good too. The one above it, that's a good lake.
If you can unlock those two lakes, there's some bigs in there. If you're going down there, if you can unlock that lake, people, there's some bigs in there.
Mhm.
Bigs. But
Hey, I got a quick question for you, Robert.
yes, sir.
Why does the bass sit in the brim beds, especially in the summer, late fall when there's no brim on them? Do you know why?
I don't know why per se, but I have a thought of why they do it.
Okay.
My thought of why they do it is just, getting some shade, or just having sense of security of just like, it's like structure to them. It's like almost like a change in the depth change. That's
Well,
my
I make
thought.
a habit of always talk to older guys out there that do white perch fishing
Mhm.
because they all used to be really good bass fishermen. But once they get up in age, they all get arthritis, so then they all go to white perch fishing. And if you talk to them, they'll give you a lot of good knowledge. But all the old timers tell me, see, those lakes have Sylvania. And that Sylvania, when it dies, it falls to the bottom. And a lot of that lake is just that muddy muck. That real nasty, black, sticky mud.
Mm-hmm.
So those brim beds are sandy bottoms, nice, clean, sandy bottoms. Well, the bass, they don't want to sit in the mud because when they're just sitting there resting and they're flaring their gills breathing, they're kicking up that muck. So they get in them beds. It's clean bottom, it's sand, so they can just sit there and breathe and move their gills, and it's clean water always moving through their gills.
Wow.
And that's the reason why they sit in them brim beds. And it
Dude,
might
That
only
makes
be
perfect sense.
and it might only be a 2 to 4 to 5 inch difference from 2 foot to 2.5 foot deep, but that's just enough. That little transition is why they do it. And yeah, I need to get me that side scan because
that makes a lot of sense.
I used to stand up looking for brim beds, but I don't stand up anymore. But yeah,
Yeah,
you need to come back in the spring and you show me where the brim beds are,
dude,
and I'll take it to some spots that will blow your mind.
Rodney, when I tell you how big this area was with just brim beds, I was like, if it looks like every fish in the lake, every brim in the lake comes here to bed. That's how big, expansive this area was, and it was loaded. It was freaking loaded, man. But the wind was blowing like 25 miles per hour.
Yeah,
I couldn't keep constant contact on my jig. I'm trying to drag the jig. At the time, I'll tell you people, I normally throw a 3/8 ounce jig. Normally, that's what I stick with, 3/8 ounce. Summertime and wintertime, I'll jump up to a 1/2 ounce or 3/4 ounce, but that's for very specific reasons. This wind was blowing so hard, I was like, I'm gonna throw a 3/4 ounce jig. I still had a great big old Christmas present size bow in my line trying to do that, and I couldn't keep contact with the jig, and I was just like, well, if I want to throw the jackhammer, I'm going to have to cast up into the wind because I want it to look natural and I want it to come with the way the wind is creating the current. And it's just going to be a big headache. So I fished this area with the jig for a while. I missed 2 and I got rid of it. Dude, this area is huge. I've never seen a brim bed area that was so concentrated. And I feel like every brim in the lake. If I ever go back.
Was it by Peggy's Island?
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, I know there's a bunch by Peggy's Island, but okay.
And I'll show you a huge brush pile that I found that had fish loaded on it that I missed like 4 fish on.
Hey, I'm proud of you. Good job, man.
But anyway, hey, I thoroughly enjoyed tonight's thing, man. I've learned, like Rodney taught me a lot of stuff tonight. Hank, you hit me up on some history. Like you learned me tonight. That's why I love KFL. That's why I love doing this and talking to you guys and the anglers and the gals, man. It's just it's knowledgeable, it's informative, it's fun, and it's easy, especially when you have a great bunch of guys who are easy to talk to.
Right.
So, but before we get out of here, man, if you have anybody you want to thank, your sponsors, friends, family, whatever the case may be, this should to say your last 2-minute goodbye or whatnot. Let me hear it. What you got, Rodney?
Go ahead.
Oh, I think Rodney froze on us.
All right, I'll go then.
What up, Hank?
My
Yeah,
son,
so,
Brad, and
I'm
that's about it.
going to
What?
thank Jackson Kayak for supporting me and Lance and Greg and Adam Patrone out there at the lake, putting us on that team. I let the guys down, but I had a great time fishing with them. That was an amazing tournament for us to do that teamwork. And actually, I transferred things that I learned from working with the team in KFL to that work, right? Like the way we talked and approached things. So that was good. So thank you to Jackson Kayaks. I want to thank KBF for putting on a great tournament. I mean, I was there in a part official capacity. I don't work in the tournament operation side of KBF. I do the website content. So I get to talk to the anglers and tell the story of the tournament on the website. And this is a great story to tell. I've got like 4 articles in the works, and I still have to catch up with Guillermo and Cody and Brandon and those guys who won big prizes. So KBF did a great job there, and they got out of my way so that I could do my job too as a writer and covering our sport. So thanks to them. They were great. Last thing, I just want to plug, some of you guys know about it, but if anyone's listening and you're in the area, come out to the Battle on the Border this weekend. Carr Lake, Bugs Island, October 23rd, Virginia versus North Carolina versus everybody else. It's going to be a good time. So shout out to CKA, CCKF, Virginia Kayak Trail, Brandon's Club, NVKBA, everybody up in Virginia. Everybody get down. Let's do this. And, you know, we celebrated the end of the KBF season. Let's celebrate our season here too.
Hey, just a second what Hank had to say, man. Get out there to Battle on the Border. I literally, I don't know if I tell you this now, Hank. I literally just officially took over VKT Virginia Kayak Trail as of yesterday, so I'm the tournament director.
Congratulations.
So I'll be picking all you guys' brain for some knowledge, how to run a good trail, how to streamline some things. But come out to it. It's fun. It's great competition. It's intense, but we also have fun with it. Guys camp, we cook, we have some drinks, we talk some shop, we talk some shit. It's fun. Come out. Battle on the Border, Kerr Lake / Bugs Island. I don't know what the actual name of it is. It's Kerr and Bugs Island, whichever one you want to call it. It's got, I think, does that one have smallmouth in it, Hank?
Yeah, up on the river, and yeah, it's got some smallies.
Yeah, so you got smallies, you got largies, and I think you might have a few spots. I'm not sure, but come out, enjoy the fishing, enjoy the grub, enjoy the drink. Battle on the Border, Virginia versus North Carolina versus those boys up further north near Washington, D.C.
Wow.
Arlie, you got anything, baby?
Well, I just want to say thank you again for you doing this tonight and letting us get on here and talk a little bit and reminisce about the national championship just a few days ago and everything down there, and just mainly I just want to say thanks to my bait sponsor for all my fish were caught except for during practice, but during the tournament all of my fish were caught on knee-deep tackle plastic baits. Every one of my fish during the tournament. Like I said, I did catch a few on the buzz bait, but I think those were all caught during practice. I didn't catch none on the buzz bait, I don't think, during the tournament. But anyway, I want to thank Knee Deep Tackle. And
they got a website, Arlie?
Yes, sir. It's a gentleman down in Georgia. He just pours baits and he'll do colors for you, custom colors. He does worms and Ned rig worms and other stuff. He does a little bit of everything, but he's just a guy and he does it on the weekends. So, he has a job during the week. So on the weekends he pours baits, and man, I had to call him when I was down there and message him he's got me some more coming for this week. But it's Knee Deep Tackle. That's the name of it. Knee Deep Tackle.
So is that KNEE?
Yep. Deep, one word, and then tackle. Knee Deep Tackle. That's
got you. Knee Deep Tackle. I'm gonna check it out, bro.
Yep. DJ's his name, and like I said, just if you do go over there, just kind of mention him that I mentioned it to you, and
absolutely.
Hey, whatever. But he pours baits, and I know there's a lot of people out there that do. But I caught all of mine on some colors that I've had him to pour for me, and about probably 80%, 75% of them, believe it or not, of my fish were come off of a Ned bait. Now, I didn't throw it on a Ned rig, but it was a Ned bait.
Oh, okay. Whew.
So,
He's okay. Cool.
so, yeah, no, I
Ned
didn't,
bait, but not a Ned rig. Got you.
but and then I caught a few on the finesse worms that I had to switch because they got to where they figured out I guess I was throwing that and they quit hitting it. But then I switched to a finesse, like a 6-inch finesse, and they'd hit it. So, but I caught all of my fish during the tournament on the plastics. I mean, I don't know, I just couldn't. And I caught most of mine in grass and around lily pads, but most of it was grass. I tried around the cypress trees. I caught a few, but I just couldn't. They wouldn't do it for me around the cypress trees.
Yeah, it was an ever evolving thing. I don't think the fish were ever able to be really truly be patterned unless you found a school.
Right.
They were moving. They were just moving. Unless you found a school, they were moving and doing different shit.
Yeah, because like I said, for the whole pretty much during the tournament, I had 3 rods that I threw. And basically one of them was the buzz bait because I caught those few and I thought, man, I'm gonna throw it, and I throw it, and I didn't get them out during the tournament. And but the rest of the time I had 2 rods I threw, and that was a finesse in the Ned, and I threw that that was pretty much what I threw during the 3 days of my hard fishing anyway. Caught them on. So, but anyway, like I said, I finished 112th. I can't, I wanted to do a little better, but that's still not bad out of 340 or 45, whatever it was. Actually,
350.
Yeah. So I mean, and I finished.
That's good.
I fished a challenge series. I don't even remember where I finished in it. I don't know if it's 50, 60. I don't remember. I think there was about 100 in it. But anyway,
you finished in the top third.
Yeah. So I mean, like I said, I was disappointed in myself because I made the wrong decision.
I understand that, bro.
But I caught fish every day, and I know some people didn't even catch fish still or no measurable fish, and I was catching measurable fish even. So,
people didn't realize there was I think there was at least 30. No, I think it was 40 people blanked.
Yes, and I cannot believe that because I was like, man, the fish were just. I ain't gonna say it was easy, but I mean, at the same time, I felt like the fish were biting good. But like I said, I fished Thursday around 3 or 4 guys that was hardly catching anything. I mean, I passed one guy that morning. I didn't get to the ramp till right at 7 because I passed him, and he said, "Boy, you barely made it, didn't you?" And then it was somebody I knew, and he said, "Arlie, what are you doing?" I said, "Man, I just got here." I said, "I'm going," and I went on by him. And when I passed him, I missed one, lost one. Then I got up and I done caught 4. By the time I turned around and come back down, I done caught 4 and he hadn't caught one yet. Then I seen him a little while later and he still hadn't caught one. Finally, he did catch a few, and I don't remember if they were 12 inches or what, but I already had my limit and was culling. I think I culled once or twice on Thursday. But anyway, like I said, I want to thank you again for taking the time because I know you don't have to, but I enjoy getting to get on here and I can't wait for the KFL to start.
Yes, sir.
And get together with my guys. I'm coming back with the Carolina Casters this year, and glad Stephen Bell allowed me to come back and asked me to come back.
Oh, yeah.
Corey Dreyer coming on this year, so y'all better watch out for us.
man, tell Corey I ain't worried about Corey. The Norfolk Privateers still bringing that hammer, baby.
He don't finish very well usually, so we don't have to worry about him. He's a good fisherman.
Oh, I know Corey's a good fisherman, yeah.
And he's a good guy too. I mean, what I'm saying, he's just like the rest of us. He loves to fish and don't mind telling you and helping you if he can. So
yeah.
Anyway,
but ain't nobody afraid of Corey though. Tell Corey bring it. All right, Arlie, man. Thank you, bro.
Yes, sir. Thank you, bud. Bye-bye.
And then there was Rodney. Well, the floor is yours, sir. Anybody you want to thank? Anything you want to say?
Just like I said, just God and my family. I mean, my son Bradley, he helps me out tremendously, and that's about it. I just, and my oxygen provider, I couldn't do it without him.
I want to say thank you, Rodney, man. You've always been a guy who's, who'll teach people, who'll give some knowledge out there, and you're one of the nicest guys I've ever met, man. It was awesome. It was great to meet you in person and to get.
Yeah, you too, Robert. Yeah, like I said, I even told Greg, I said, you guys need to come down here one spring, and I can put y'all on some big bass. It'll wear y'all out. All I can do is watch because it wears me out. I can't really catch big fish no more. It just makes me too tired. So I just like watching you young guys catch them.
Man, I don't never catch big fish, so I don't know. Somebody else.
Yeah, right.
Do it. Well, I appreciate
you got your TV down here, dude. That was wonderful.
That was awesome, man.
And I'm gonna have my wife take a picture of this autograph under my chest here.
Man, get out of here, man. Hey, everybody say goodnight to Rodney while he's talking about autograph on his titties and nipples and stuff. All right, Rodney, you have a good night, bro.
All right, I love you, bro. Y'all be good.
Yes,
Bye.
sir. Hey man, I appreciate everybody rocking with us tonight, man. It was a fun broadcast, man. And if you didn't get the opportunity to make it to the NC this past NC, man, you missed a good one. It was awesome. The experience was way better than, for me, way better than what last year's experience was. And last year's experience wasn't a bad one. It was just awesome. The people, the camaraderie, the fishing, the location, all of it was great. And try to make it out to the next one. I think the next one's in March, but I can tell you what, I'm excited about the KFL, man. Have you seen the new teams? Have you seen the people coming into the KFL? I mean, the guy who finished second, Mr. somebody by the name of Milton or Cody Milton or something or another. He's in the KFL fishing with us next year. Corey Dryers, and I don't know who that guy is. He's fishing with us, and there's a bunch of people coming in. I mean, this thing's gonna blow up. All these people who talk shit before, man, they're gonna try to flock to us. I'm not saying those two guys talk shit because I don't think they did. I'm just saying they're gonna be flocking to the KFL as this thing is blowing up, man. I can tell you that the pot for the championship next year is gonna make the pot for the what the championship was this year in 2021 dwarfs it. I got an inside scoop. I get information, people. I don't know why. I don't know why they trust me. I don't know. I don't know Uncle Sam trusts me, But Yak Attack do? We finished third, Craig. We led for most of the day on day 2, but we got overtook by team that finished second was a quarter inch in front of us, and the team that won was a half inch. They won by a half inch in front of us. But we finished third. I finished 44th national championship and 23rd in the trail and 24th in the challenge. So my goal going into it was top 20. I went into day 3, I think, at close to the top 20. I don't know, but I had a pattern going. I had a thing figured out. I just knew that I was going to kill them on day 3, and I was going to climb all the way up until the top 10. I had the bites. Be looking for my video because you'll see it in my video. I got it all on GoPro. I had the bites on day 3 for a 100-inch bag. Apparently I suck at top water and I need to figure it out because I missed them all. And when you hear these explosions, when you see these explosions in the video, in my GoPro footage when I put it out, you're just going to be like, well, how the hell? I had one fish take the whole damn sexy dog, like this goddamn long, probably about a 4.5, 5-inch bait with 3 treble hooks on it. Took it underneath the water. I felt the weight of the fish. And when I pulled into it, it was gone. I was like, how the heck? We ain't going to get into that. Only talk about it. Watch the video. You'll see how butthurt I am because of all the fish that I lost or that I missed. But it was still fun. I still caught my limit. I still finished respectably. And 2 national championships, 2 top 100s. I guess the one I'm learning from you guys, I'm learning some stuff and I'm learning from you, and then you guys are teaching me. So you learns in me. Anyway, KFL, baby, be on the lookout. We finna get back into these broadcasts. We finna get back into talking shop. We finna get back into promoting this thing. Let's get it. 2022 is gonna be fun. And if you're not a part of the KFL, then you're just not in with the cool kids. All right. Y'all have a good night. If you know me, text me, hit me up. You know what I'm saying? Send me a drink, buy me a drink. Let's go drink. We'll take an Uber. Anyway, KFL out, baby.